Welcome to the Fredonia Central School Board of Education meeting for Tuesday, February 18th, 2025. Dr. Zilias, we'll start with the pledge, so
let's do it.
Please join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So we have a proposed agenda for tonight's meeting, but we also have an addendum. Under here. So we have an addendum. It's personnel B1 and personnel E1. Both in consent. Is the B1, Ms. Morrison, is that? Because we have a B1 already.
Yes, the numbering decided to reset.
Okay.
It is actually supposed to be
5.
It is not. The numbering is incorrect. We'll fix that.
Okay. All right. So, yeah, because so you'll just order those in minutes. So we have an addendum, and we also have a meeting with a consent agenda, including personnel, but excluding A1 and B3, and also including new business, but excluding D1. So is there anything that anyone would like to have pulled out of the consent tonight or the addendum?
So this personnel B is personnel 6B.
Correct.
Maybe it's 5.
6B4. There is a 4.
Four, so 5. Okay, so if not, could I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Ms. Hahn, thank you. A second?
Second.
Mr. Kinney, thanks. All in favor? Opposed? It's been nice you're all on one side. So let's look over here. So we move right into our first public comment for the night. The board is reserved this time to hear comments from the audience. Those wishing to address the board are asked to stand, give their name and address, and limit their comments to 5 minutes or less per individual and group. Concerns and comments during the session should be directly related to items listed on the proposed agenda for this meeting. So is there anybody that would like to speak on anything pertaining to the agenda tonight? If not, we have a second public comment at the end where we can speak outside the agenda. Okay, we'll move on. Next, we have the approval of the minutes of the regular meeting from February 4th, 2025. Could I have a motion to approve those minutes?
So moved.
Ms. Hahn, thank you. Mr. Marshall, second. Any comments on those minutes? All in favor? Opposed? Next is the financial treasurer's report. So, Mr. Forbes, could you give us an update on budget status investment?
Yep, I'll kind of go off the dashboard, which the estimated revenues and expenditures have been adjusted. Expenditures, just a few tweaks here and there. The revenue side we adjusted for the additional interest revenue in January. We continue to be to the plus there. We are now at the end of January, under 13,000 over what we budgeted because of the rates on T-bills. We did receive 12,000 non-resident tuition, 35,000 per month in interest. Basic lottery formula, 80,000 was expected, and also generating 244,000 per month of January.
Any comments?
Don't see we have a copy of these. I didn't see one in there.
You didn't get a dashboard.
I did, but I did not. Thank you. Yeah, what Eugene was, I was looking, like, it's a possibility I'm looking at the Fed issues with that. Okay, thank you.
So we're $553,000 ahead of schedule. You're estimating that we're in the Fed are $553,000.
Correct, which
Higher revenues, lower expenses.
that's correct. Don't forget that we applied $750,000
Any other questions? Next on the agenda is the review of the treasurer's report. Motion to Mr. Walters,
Second.
Ms. Hahn, thanks. Mr. Forbes?
No issues on it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Other items in financial tonight is to award bids for the capital improvement project under Prop 1. It looks like this is for a site survey to be done at demolition. Mr. Kinney, a second.
Second.
Mr. Marshall. Dr. Zoyax, some background on the site survey?
Yeah, so again, we're excited. Proposition 1 was approved by our taxpayers, which totals about $22 million, and mostly maintenance work, warm, safe, and dry work, as we were phrasing it as we got up to the vote. And some of that work will take place at Wheelock. In particular, the new playground that will be built there for the students at the younger grades, and also roof work at Wheelock as well. So the protocol through Young and Wright is following state guidance. We do need a survey for that property. So they assist us in the bid and bringing this proposal forward tonight to get moving in that direction. So again, we appreciate the taxpayers supporting Proposition 1 and look forward to getting this work going sooner than later. Again, we phased it in 2 separate stages so we could get things rolling sooner rather than later. So more to follow in coming board meetings, but right now this is sort of step 1 towards us actually getting some work done.
Any comments? All in favor? Opposed? So we also need to approve a transportation contract, which will follow ritual, that we're bringing up in February. Could I have a motion to bring this to the table? So, Mr. Marshall, a second. Mr. Kinney, thanks. Dr. Salinas.
Yeah. So, throughout any school year, a variety of situations come up, different needs, families in transition, and we do our best to support them as those situations arise. Thanks to John Forbes for really looking for the most efficient and economical way to meet this need, and he was able to connect or add on to existing runs. So you'll see that oftentimes in our board agenda, the cost per trip is high for a transportation run, and this one is probably the lowest one I remember at about $50 per run per day. So we're glad to have that in place. Thank you, Mr. Forbes.
This will be a record low. Right?
Well, first thing we kind of really have on this one, the driver took the run on his own time, timed it up, a couple of speeds in between, a couple other runs we have to make this happen, so they really work hard on that.
Can you go lower than that someday? I don't know. That's a good call. That's good. Any other comments? All in favor? Opposed? All right, moving right into personnel tonight. And first item is to approve the recommendation for tenure for Nicole Kane in the elementary tenure area. Can I have a motion to bring that to the table?
So moved.
Ms. Hahn, thank you. Second? Second. Mr. Marshall, thanks. Dr. Zillians.
Yeah, so Nikki is here tonight. Welcome, Nikki. It's good to see you, and congratulations on earning tenure with the district. Just as a reminder to our processes, there's a time leading up to tonight in which we meet in executive session, review any of our teachers who are up for tenure or other positions for that matter that are up for tenure, have a robust discussion with the administrator. There's some forms that accompany that conversation, allow the board to ask any questions, and just make sure we're all on the same page and we all have an understanding of what has occurred over the last 3 years, and also confirming the recommendation from the building administrator for tenure. So that all happened a few weeks ago, and Mr. Jallinger unfortunately couldn't be here tonight, but Nikki has done a great job coming in to a computer program, which is now sort of morphing into a STEM program at the elementary level. She's done a really nice job sort of rethinking and revisiting what the course or the course of study was all about, making some adjustments, updating, and really making what the students are doing in computers as relevant as possible. She does all that with a very positive energy, positive attitude, very welcoming environment down in the computer lab. That's part of our elementary school, and overall does a fantastic job meeting the needs of students, really enhancing their experience, and also connecting with the elementary classroom teachers in terms of how can they collaborate assignments, projects, and complement each other in the work that Nikki does in the classroom. So very nicely done all the way around. I'm not sure if anybody else would like to chime in. Dr. Wright?
Sure, thank you. I'm very excited that I have the opportunity to work with Nikki on a lot of different initiatives, including the STEM initiative, as you mentioned. I'd also like to highlight her initiative and leadership to reach out to make sure that there's a continuum of education with the middle school, working really hard with the middle school business teacher, computer teacher, to make sure that that learning continues up in that strand, and working very closely with Margaret Gray for their experience with STEM there. And this year Nikki has the leadership role of instructional leader and has worked really hard to help further time for out-of-the-box thinking to achieve curriculum writing and for people to get together as a team and to really work on those curriculum maps and conversations, working very closely with, as you mentioned, the teachers, the classroom teachers, to align what they're doing topically with what she can do with instructional technology to complement that so that the students are seeing the application of it in real time. So I just give a huge shout out to her leadership and working with our kiddos, and the kids love coming in there. They come into her classroom with this bundle of energy that she has to then tame and get going, but a lot of interactive lessons. They don't just sit in a computer, so that's what's really special. So thank you for all that you do.
Yeah, STEM's so important. It's such an important piece. So thank you for what you do. Well deserved tonight. Thank you for making the effort to come out tonight, too. So, we'll vote, and then we'll see if you have any comments. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Any comments?
I actually wrote down a couple of things. Do you want me to go to the mic?
Yes.
Okay. I figured I'm not really good in public speaking with adults, so to stay on track, I wrote a few things. I just want to say good evening. I would just like to take this time to say thank you to Dr. Ziliaks, Dr. Wright, Mr. Drollinger, and to the board. 3 years ago, I entered into the amazing Fredonia Elementary and Wheelock communities as the kindergarten through 4th grade computer teacher. I have enjoyed every moment working with both all of the students and staff. I have encouraged all of the students to explore the world of technology through many outlets, including Book Creator, Storyboard That, Canva, databases, as well as Google, to name a few. I've been fostering creative, innovative, and problem-solving skills, and I'm excited to continue my career here. Thank you.
Again, thank you for coming out tonight. But you don't feel compelled to have to stay for it.
Oh, I don't mind. It's interesting.
We'll try to make it quick. Well done. Our next item under personnel is to, oh, sorry, we did it, right? Our next item under personnel is to approve with regret the resignation of Jennifer Smith from the purpose of retirement. We have a motion to bring that to the table.
So moved.
Ms. Hunt, thank you. Second.
Second.
Mr. Kennedy, thanks. Dr. Ziliaks.
Mrs. Piper couldn't be here tonight as well, and I don't see Jenny with us. I wasn't sure if she was going to stop by, but we talk a lot about Wheelock, the nurturing, welcoming, positive, caring environment, and Jenny Smith definitely encompasses all of those qualities. Very positive in the classroom, very welcoming. You can see the students really enjoy their time in her classroom and their interaction. She brings a quiet confidence to the classroom, but also an element of fun and a sense of humor about what she does, and just generally does a fantastic job. She's been with the district for several years. She will absolutely be missed, but we certainly want to say we appreciate all that she's done for all our students and families at Wheelock and beyond. And we appreciate all her energy and time in the process.
The opportunity to work with
Yep.
Jenny, thank you, as an instructional leader. And when we were going through the process of investigating different math curriculums and finding a way, she was there to share a voice for the youngest learners and why that's important and what we should be looking for. So she really is a guiding force, which is so important when you're looking at the scope of pre-K through 12. And I know that she's very excited about the new pre-K 3 briefs that are instructional best practices that have come down from the state. And she, doesn't have that sense of, oh, I've retired, so there we go. She's like excited to do this work and dig in and be part of it, through the end of the school year. So it's just a testimony to her character, her leadership, and I know that she, as you said, will be with regret, very sadly, very, very much missed.
So we'll have to approve Ms. Smith's resignation with regret. All in favor? Opposed? We wish her well in her retirement, and thank her for her dedication and commitment to the district over the years. Next on the agenda is new business around personnel. The only item under new business tonight is to approve the second reading of policy 3421, which is Title IX and sex discrimination is submitted. I've got a motion to bring that to the table. Mr. Marshall, a second. Mr. Kim. Anything on this policy?
Oh yeah, just a couple of reminders. This was shared with the board through our weekly communications a few weeks ago now, leading up to the first read, which was at the previous meeting. I've also shared this with Mrs. Piper, who is our Title IX coordinator. This is not really a shift in the importance of Title IX or being aware and the idea that in no way the district tolerates any type of sexual discrimination or harassment, but more is about procedural pieces. The entire policy, which is about 20 pages, is all new language and really breaks down for the district the timing of different things that need to happen from the moment potential complaint is lodged all the way to the resolution, ultimately if a complaint is verified and then investigated by the district. So we are very mindful of all those timelines. Certainly will adhere to those timelines, and are prepared to follow through if and when needed. And I know Mrs. Piper has had a chance to review this and is fully aware of these changes as well. So summarizes why it's here tonight. Yep.
Any questions? All in favor? Opposed? Well, that leads us into our second round of public comment tonight. If there is anything that's not on tonight's agenda, is there anybody who would like to speak for the board today? No? We'll move right into the superintendent's report. So, Dr. Zippers.
Well, yeah, a couple things for tonight. One is, there's been an ongoing focus on attendance across the district and really looking at how big of a problem is attendance in our district and what are the things that we can do to encourage students and families to get students here on a daily basis. Over the course of the school year, we've monitored the attendance rate per month. And, kind of as a benchmark, most districts use kind of 90% as sort of that cutoff line between attendance they're feeling pretty good about or seems to be fairly positive, and below 90 starts to generate a different conversation. So thus far in the school year, most of our attendance rates have been 90 or above, and represent some plus or minus in terms of percentage from the month before. So in terms of Wheelock, the rate for December was 90.02, and almost almost identical in January, 90.32. I think everybody has a copy of this with them, right? Yep. For Wheelock, that's in December, that's a plus 7.4% and a plus 3.1%. Elementary school in December, 92.3 and 91.5. That's a plus 2.2 for December and a plus 0.71 for January. Middle school, we see some decrease in attendance, but still well above the 90%. Middle school, December, 91.73%. January, 91.82. That is a minus of a 0.7 for December and a minus of about 1% in January, but again, still in relatively good standing. Similar developments at the high school, 90.1 in December and 90.3 in January. That's a minus 0.13 for December and a minus of 1.5 in January. So we continue to monitor, have these conversations and discussions. I think where things have been very helpful is our building principals and directors carrying on these conversations at the student support meeting level or team meeting level, and really just bringing people back to the importance of attendance. Mr. Paschke shared a couple months ago, trend that showed, at least in the high school, that the more students are in school, the more they tend, or the suggestion is, the more they tend to do well in school. So we continue to think about that and process this information and think about what next steps could be for our attendance. In terms of the month-to-month, I think as we were getting towards the end of last year, we were thinking that maybe it would show a greater decrease or percentages further below 90, but right at this point, this is the information we have. So as we progress throughout February, we'll bring that information forward and then march into the remainder of the year. Just want to touch base on that. I'm not sure if there's any questions for you.
This is great. I look forward to, I hope that as a district we continue to do this so that over the years, over the decades, you can see statistically significant bumps as opposed to this, the starting point, which is great. But if we continue this, I think it's a good thing.
True. And having this data is very useful. I was expecting a further decrease than there is. So we're essentially in the 90% range, roughly, across the school. That's really good information.
Also trying to take kind of a step forward. As you know, last year was our first year with a student board representative, non-voting member of the board, and we kind of let that flow a little bit. And eventually Lacey was chiming in more and more in our conversations here at the board level. But this year with Ann and Sam, we are trying to build in some things that generate discussion, or at least have the student voice heard here at our board meetings. One of the things we worked on over the last month or so is a survey that would get some information about how students were thinking about, feeling about the first semester. Although this survey went out to all students in grades 7 and 9, we noticed with the high school there was some poor timing involved. One is that we ran into our half day, and in the moment we didn't really consider that the morning for high school students, which was a great event. Mr. Paschke might touch on this. There was a Pride event that took the entire morning on Friday, and that was part of the time we were hoping that students might take the survey. However, for tonight, we are going to focus on the 7th and 8th grade results. We had a really nice turnout. Thank you to the ELA department at grade 7 and 8 who helped facilitate that at the middle school. And myself and both Sam and Ann are going to share some information with you. So one of the basic questions we asked was just, how long have you attended Fredonia schools? And what were the results there?
About 82% did 4 or more years, and then we had 10, 1 to 3, and then less than 1 is 8%. So majority is 4 or more.
Yeah, I think that makes sense for our community that is a pretty consistent population for the most part, and a lot of our students are here for multiple years. We also just asked what classes this year are students enjoying. Sam, what was our response there?
So it was about 25% English was and social studies and that was surprising.
Yeah, so kudos to really all departments, but to say English at 25% and the most common answer is a credit to them and what they're doing and how they approach their course. We also asked what courses students were feeling were more difficult for them this school year. And?
We had science for number 1, and math, English, and 22% said other. Said science probably because they're taking advanced, right? So maybe that was a factor in it.
We also asked in terms of events, what seemed to be most enjoyable events or things that stuck in students' mind as a fun time as part of our school. Sam?
So it was by far sporting events. The closest was music, so 5%. And then other was at 7%, and just as many like 20 minutes, 5%.
Makes sense. I think Fredonia is pretty well known for both sports and music, so that seemed to confirm our interest in both of those areas. We also asked important things that students learned while in class over the course of this semester. And what were some of the responses there?
So for English, we have essay writing, poetry, science fiction, math, algebra, slow drafting. Science, there's DNA, cells, chromosomes, social studies, colonial, European, America, Revolutionary War, and SEL, social emotional learning, relationship building, friendship, respect goes both ways, active listening. I think that one has a lot of people responding. Important things in that class, so it's very good.
Yeah, one of the things we talked about there is, we still have those traditional subject areas with a variety of things, underneath there, but probably over the last 5 to 10 years in school, we have this increase in instruction in social emotional learning, and it was great to see students being able to rattle off as many topics that they found enjoyable or were interested in or found to be important under that category, as well as the more traditional subject headings as well. We also asked them to talk a little bit about things they learned outside of the classroom, but still attached to school. Less responses there, but Sam, what did people have to say?
So they kind of answered it's surprising because it's some of the graders said they were working the day outside of school. It's kind of
Yeah, interesting responses. And then we asked ways that they felt their school experience or their school could be improved. And most of them kind of internalized this response and made it sort of like things that they could do, but there was also a mix of answers that were just about the broader school building or the broader district. Sam, or Ann, what were some of those responses?
So for some that took it personal, it would be less homework, improved grades, less testing, and then for like the story, sports, fields and facilities, better student behavior, more kindness, greater storytelling, more rewards.
And lastly, we just asked students if there was anything else they wanted the Board of Education to know. And Sam, what did?
It's mainly sports related, that they like sports and sports fields for recreation. They said that beginning of the school year as well.
So out of the 7th, 8th grade, we were right in 150. 173, a little more than last time I checked. So, you know, pretty good response from our 7th and 8th graders. As student representatives and superintendent, we're going to revisit how to engage our 9 through 12 in the survey and hopefully have some information by March 4th. We are, hopefully connect with some of our teachers and maybe have them build a few minutes into their classroom instruction for the survey, which is, I think, part of the reason we see a little more response from middle school students at this point. So, anything else, Sam or Ann, that you wanted to comment on?
Any comments from the board? Thanks for all the work you put in. We really appreciate hearing from the students. And, I like the comment, first half of the year was better than the last year, which beats the alternate. So, and so we're doing high school next.
Yes. We kind of revisit. We gave it an initial try. It didn't quite produce the results we were looking for, so we're going to regroup.
Great. Excellent. Look forward to that. Thank you. All right. Anything else?
A couple more things. I'm on a roll. Just wanted to remind everybody that over the course of a few board meetings over the last year, there's been some concerns about the accessibility of the playground here on the main campus. So we are going to be designating our outlay project. Again, that's a $100,000 project. That is aidable at the same rate as a larger capital project that we can do every year. That outlay project this summer will be designated for the playground here on the main campus to increase accessibility. We'll be making paths in between equipment that'll be much easier for students to travel on who might have a disability. We'll also have at least one piece of equipment that will be for all students, but is a little bit more geared towards students with disabilities. And we'll also have a swing that's tailored for students with disabilities as well. So that is in the works. We're working with Young and Right on that, and I just want to keep an awareness of that out there, that this is moving forward. Coupled with the work that eventually will happen at Wheelock, the new playground is part of Proposition 1. This is really good news, not only for just upgrading our facilities, but also really focusing on the accessibility piece. Mrs. Morrison and I have continued to generate some more updates from the district office. We have one that will be coming out within the next week or so. Just wanted to keep an awareness of that as well. We also were selected, lucky us, we were one of 20 districts in the state that were selected for a water inspection through New York State. The testing and the two representatives that were here last week doing some testing and also looking at how we recorded and reported this information. Eventually they will produce a report that will have some recommendations or suggestions for how we might do this as efficiently as possible in the future. And we look forward to those results. And it's really just about making sure that we are doing all the things that are mandated by the state in a consistent and efficient way. So we welcome that feedback, and we look forward to the results. Lastly, just wanted to talk a little bit about the annual budget. We are gearing up for our annual budget that culminates with the vote by the public in May. You know, this is a process that's very collaborative. We start with our building level personnel being able to request supplies or equipment that they feel they need to be successful. That eventually goes to our building principals and directors for consideration. Then district office and our business office meets with our building principals to process what the requests are from their faculty and staff, and also what the requests might be from the administrators themselves. Once we kind of have that processed, we do come back to the idea that we recognize we're talking about limited resources as a district, and also oftentimes a variety of wants and needs. We absolutely want to maintain program for our students. We want to be able to provide as many opportunities as we can for our students. And we want to provide the adults with all the resources they need to be able to perform their job successfully and well within our school district. However, we do need to balance that and be mindful and diligent about costs, and also keep the idea of affordability in mind for our taxpayers as we process all of that information. We appreciate and thank our taxpayers for the support, long history of supporting our annual budget from year to year. We look forward to continuing that trend as we begin to get together a budget that makes sense for everybody involved. We are putting together a more detailed timeline in the moment. We will have additional information here at board meetings, more informally like this, but also through formal presentations, especially from Mr. Forbes. So I just want to remind everybody that this is our mindset going into the annual budget. These are the ways in which we're going to process what things will ultimately be part of the budget, and maybe some things that will not be part of the budget. And we'll have more information out as soon as possible. Any other questions?
Thanks for the report, putting it in there. And, again, highlighted by that report, so that's great. Mr. Kinney, I believe earlier in the month you attended a BOCES meeting. Anything come out of that?
Yes. The one thing I took away from the meeting, because obviously I know they have auto body, auto mechanics, welding, electrical, and so forth. One thing that I've never been able to do quite well is welding. So they actually had Steven Zentz, who graduated from Dunkirk High School, speak before the board and explain the program he went through. So he actually attended BOCES welding program, attending Dunkirk High School. His mom and dad are Steve and Denise Zentz they were employed as officers in Dunkirk. From there, upon graduation, he went to JCC and took their 2-year welding program. And upon graduation, he became employed almost immediately as a welder. I don't know if everybody's been over Chicago Lake Bridge lately, but they're doing significant work on that. And I had heard prior to this over the summer that he was actually on that project welding. So he was actually part of that project welding on the bridge. He has decided to become a paid firefighter, but he is going to continue his welding in some capacity, even though he's fully employed as a paid firefighter. But just seeing how well he did with the welding program, and now he's moving on to public service and continuing to do his welding was pretty neat to hear him discuss that for everybody.
That's great. There's a lot of employment in Boulder
Yes.
County. Lots. Thanks for attending.
Yes, sir.
We've been well attended this year, so thanks to everybody that's made a meeting, and also the Chautauqua County School Association meetings. We're on a roll this year, which is great. So thanks, Mr. Kinney. Any other comments from the board? General comments? Bring in to Mr. Paschke.
As Dr. Zayat mentioned that we tried to do our survey on last week on Friday on our half day, but all of our kids were involved with activities for the entire day, so we weren't in classes, so they didn't get a great response. But what a great day Friday was. I need to thank our Pride Committee. We have about a quarter of our teachers now involved with our Pride Committee, which is tremendous. It's growing, and they did a fantastic job. And extra kudos to them this year because prior years, this whole thing had primarily been set up by Stephen Romans, who left, and Kara Korhummel, who's on leave. And so they had all of the plans for everything that we do, and we've kind of added some stuff as we go along. But they had the lion's share of the work done, but it was just kind of, you know, as things are sometimes in schools, a couple of people do things, they're the only ones that know how to do it. And that's kind of where we found ourselves earlier in the year. So when we started planning for this, it got a lot more people involved, and so people just rose to the occasion. So we started off morning, we just had homeroom for attendance, and then right off to the auditorium, we played the Fredonia version of Family Feud called Fredonia Feud, where we surveyed students, and the students came up with all the survey answers for Family Feud, and we had teams, the classes battled each other, the teachers were one of the teams, and they had it out at that. Then we added a new thing this year, which was kind of, if you're old enough, you might remember oh my gosh, I forgot the name of it. It's a game show, the Newlywed Game. Very similar to the Newlywed Game, where if you remember, like a newly married couple would say things, they'd have to answer questions about the other one, what they like, what they don't like. And our kids did that with their teachers. So we had, how well do you know your favorite teacher is how it kind of turned out to be. That was also very fun. At the end of that, we went into the gym to have our pep rally and lots of games and opportunities for kids to throw pies at teachers and administrators. Just a fantastic day. That was our half day. In the afternoon, we spent the day with our staff. It was an in-service day, very focused on staff wellness. And a lot of our own staff provided really offerings on wellness. Like, so we had yoga, we had pickleball, we did badminton, a lot of them. Like, we had winter sowing, not this kind of sowing, but sowing seeds, how to plant things in winter. A lot of really cool offerings for our teachers that were about health and wellness, and they were appreciative. We had centers set up where they could go and do relaxation exercises, healthy foods. It was just a great day. So very exciting for our students and our staff to have that half day. Unlike today, we had also a shortened schedule that we didn't necessarily appreciate, but it was cold, and again, everybody rose to the occasion and did a great job today. So I guess that's all I want to share today. One little tidbit, a little preview for our next board meeting. I'm hopeful to be able to present to you a finalist for our National Merit Scholarship offering. So we're going to invite that student to our next meeting to celebrate that.
Fantastic.
Which I don't recall ever having a finalist at our school.
All will be revealed.
All will be revealed on March 4th. Tune in.
All right.
Same bad time, same bad
There we
channel.
go. Thank you. Ms. Behind
Yeah, just sort of to echo the positivity around the afternoon wellness day for our staff. It was nice to have so many of our staff. I have to thank them for being willing to offer some things. We shared between middle school and high school because our schedules aligned, so middle school teachers could participate in some high school offerings and vice versa. There was a walking challenge, of course, with prizes at the end. The Trail Next station was very popular, so it was a great, very well received day, and I'm glad we were able to continue that this year. We're in concert season right now with orchestra last week, band tomorrow night, and all choral concert next Wednesday. On behalf of Kristen and I wanted to thank Kristen Tomaszewski's classroom for spending quite a bit of time helping to organize and clear out the edge, which is a resource in our district where we can provide some additional clothing and things to some students in need. And now it has become a much more usable space because it's been organized and cleaned out, and yes, easy to navigate if students need to. So a huge shout out to Kristen T and her class. And then finally, just to echo positivity around transportation. I'm so grateful to that driver that took time on a Saturday to get our kids here every day. It was great that within a relatively short amount of time we were able to get them, transportation set up on the system
offshoot of that, well, this too is teachers are so busy, they're in their rooms, right? They can get out and
Yes.
connect with other teachers from there. That's great. So, thank you. Ms. Farrell, I think you're next.
As Mrs. Belham said, thanks to Mrs. Tomaszewski and her students for their work at the Edge. There's some plans and meetings being held right now to gear up for a district-wide inclusion week, which I believe will be the first week of March. There was an initial meeting today. I was not able to attend that due to conflict in my schedule. But rest assured, there will be a celebration of community differences and diversity in our school community. Really supporting the community.
Great, thank you.
Nothing really.
Nothing tonight, nothing. It's all to Mr. Forrest then? Even for him, you're good? Okay. You're good too, all right.
I just want to add from Mr. Drollinger, who's not here tonight, one thing, if you've been around Mrs. McAfee's class at the elementary school, you know that they're very into birds, bird watching, bird feeders, feeding the birds. So they participated in the 28th annual Great Backyard Bird Count. This global count helps scientists better understand and protect birds around the world. They identified, counted, and submitted their sightings using the Merlin Bird ID app, which I'm assuming is a thing that people know about. And you can actually go in through birdcount.org and track our contributions to that effort. So nice job to Ms. McAfee, and thanks to Mr. Jollinger for providing that information.
That's it?
That's it.
We're under an hour. Doing pretty good. So, however, we have this thing. We anticipate the need to enter into executive session tonight to discuss matters pertaining to collective negotiations. Can I have a motion to enter executive session?
So moved.
Thank you. Mr. Marshall, second. Thank you, everyone. Have a great night. Students, anybody up here? Sign your papers.
Happy senior night.
Thanks, Ann.
Oh, I said.